Another one of my favorite ways to catch bass in the summertime is to go deep for them. Now, you won't always be able to get them up shallow like you like, so sometimes you actually have to go down 20, I'm talking 30, maybe even 40 feet or more after them. And one of the best ways to do that is with a tube bait. I like to use 1/4 ounce, sometimes I'll even use a 3/8 ounce, especially if it's windy and I'm having a tough time feeling the bottom. Darter head, and you put that inside a 3.5 to a 4-inch tube. I got this rigged up on 8-pound line on my favorite Villain 610 medium action spinning rod, and we're going to go find some deep areas, we're going to go find some drop-offs. I'll talk about the different areas that you look for this technique, and I'll show you some of the techniques I use to put some nice smallies in the boat on the hottest days of the year. So stay tuned, stick around, and I'll show you everything I know about tubing for smallies. Who knows, you might even learn something too. Come along, let's go. Alright, rigging up.
Just want to take your jig head and insert it into the business end of that tube all the way until you can't shove it any further. I like to check my tube, make sure everything is looking nice and natural. It's dangling loosely, nothing's like folded up or stuck or anything. Once you got it like that, you can just poke the eyelet of the hook through the body of the tube, find the tag end of your fishing line and poke that through the eyelet. Tie up Palomar or a cinch knot or whatever knot you prefer. Ready to go. So what just happened to me was I'd lost a fish, and then I had a couple other bites, but oh, how's the ground? Hey, welcome back. Yeah, so I had a fish and I was getting more bites, but I couldn't figure out why I wasn't hooking them, and I get my tube bait back and the head of the tube is still in there, but the hook is completely busted off. Broke off on that fish. It was a little bit of an older hook, but that just goes to show why you don't use older hooks, especially those with the rust on them. This one was actually starting to rust up, so that was a amateur mistake by me. Learn from my mistakes, not your own. Don't use rusty hooks. So one thing I really like to look for when I'm fishing a tube bait is I like to find drop-offs, but I don't like to find just a plain drop-off. I like to find a drop-off with some cover on it. Here we got a weed bed, and there's a drop-off, but there's also a river feeding in here too. And this river is giving us current. The current is bringing fish here to feed. Current is a great thing to find in the summertime. A lot of times fish will relate to current in the summer because they're lazy. They want to just sit there and wait for the food to blow right past them. So what are we doing? We're delivering the food right to these fish that are sitting there waiting for a nice meal like this. It's not a big fish, but it is a perfect example of what we're trying to do. I just let it go down along the current there, feeling the bottom. I just felt a little tap there. Sure enough, there's a fish in the end of my line. Not a big guy, but you can tell he's been eating pretty well. He's got a bit of a hump to them too. Look at that. Oh, little peak right there. Still a nice, fat little fish. We'll let him go. See you, bud. Oh, and there is another one. This one's scrapping good. Come up here. Oh yeah. Ain't huge, but he is a scrappy fish. These current bass have a lot of fight to them. This one is just, he's not big, but he feels like he's twice the size. There he is. There he is. Not a bad size fish. Yeah, I take him most tournaments. Bad little fish. And the hook is just barely in his jaw. We'll get him back down there. He was just sitting right in the current. Just cast it in there. Fish on. So let me illustrate what I'm doing here. I don't know if you can see this well on the camera, but there's a seam to this current. If you look out there, there's a current, and then there's slack water before the current. What I'm doing is I'm casting perpendicular to the current. So I'm casting right into it, and I'm letting the current bounce my bait down. So I'll cast it right out there, and just let it bounce. Just hold my rod tip up like this, and if my rod tip does a tick, if there's any sort of movement at all, boom. I set the hook, because if I feel that tick, that fish is probably going to be there for a second or two before I actually get a hook into it. So I'm not wasting any time when I set the hook. Some weeds here, so I'm getting quite a few snags, but I'm also getting quite a few bites too. Here we go. Nice fish on. Scrapper. Oh, dude. I lost another little guy, and it looked like there's a few more little guys around there. This one I'd say, maybe not so little. He's taking some line on me. Holy smokes. This is a strong fish here. I have no idea what he looks like yet. He's down deep, he's pulling line still, and he is not showing himself at all. Jeez. Oh man, what have we got here? You know, it feels like a really good smallmouth. I'd say, actually I'm not even gonna say. I just hope I see it. Oh gosh. Here he comes. He's coming up. There he is. Oh yeah, he is a nice smallmouth. Caught smallie right there. Tons of fight in them. Just tons. Oh my gosh. Here he comes. Nice, scrappy. You know what? I thought he was bigger. He's still not too shabby.